of the way, and I will always love you. I will always love you. Bittersweet memories, that's all I am taking with me. Goodbye, please don't cry, 'cause we both know that I'm not what you need, but I will always love you. I will always love you. And I hope life treats you kind, and I hope that you have all that you ever dreamed of, and I wish you joy and happiness. Oh, but above all of this, I wish you love, and I will always love you. I will always love you. I will always love you.
Hi, my name is Gwen. I'm Leslie's younger sister.
Hi, I'm Francie. I am Leslie's baby sister.
Hi, Leslie. It's Christy, your big sister.
Leslie was my mom.
She was my mama.
She was my mama.
Leslie was my mom. She was my bonus mom.
Leslie was my mother-in-law.
She was my mother-in-law, or as I like to say, my mother-in-love.
Leslie is my aunt.
Leslie was my aunt and like a second mother to me and my brothers.
You were my aunt.
My sweetheart niece.
My first cousin.
Our family friend.
Leslie was like a second mother to me.
Leslie is my dear and special friend all the way back to the first year as freshmen at Eastern Hills High School.
Leslie was my friend and my work mom.
Leslie has been my friend for 30 years.
She was my best friend for 45 years.
When you're down and troubled and you need some love and care, and nothing is going right, close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again.
memory that I thought I would share is all the times we would go get our picture made together. This is my favorite. But there was a place in the mall where we worked at the United Artists Cinema 6 Theater at Northeast Mall, and there was a little studio. I don't know if it was Olin Mills or what it was, but we used to go get our picture made as friends. Here's another one. I don't know if you guys can see it. That was in a locket that we wore. So we were a little crazy, a little weird, but that's what crazy best friends do.
Some of the most fun times we had together were in the spring at school, and we would put together our skit for the teacher talent show. One of the funniest ones was when we did a skit for Amelia Bedelia, and we would practice and we got our lines wrong, and we would just laugh and laugh at each other. Leslie was always fun to be around because she could laugh at herself or laugh with you at yourself, and I just had some fun times working with Leslie.
Leslie and I loved to laugh together, and one of the places where we laughed lots and lots was in our drama class. Leslie and I got in the advanced drama class by accident, so we got to make friends with upperclassmen who were the famous actors of the school, which was really cool. And we had fun at lots of drama parties and UIL events. It was just lots of fun.
We met through our children. I had a sign in my yard when I moved in across the street from you saying, "I babysit." You picked it up and you brought it to my front door, and you told me you had a son, Stephen, who was a baby, and you needed someone to watch him. And I said I would love to. And he's been a joy in my life ever since.
So I would say my favorite memories with Leslie are all of them. I remember growing up as a kid, we'd go over there as a family, stay the weekends, sometimes stay weeks. We would go and jump on the trampoline or, act out crazy things in the living room and have dance parties and eat good food and just have good conversation. And some of my best memories as a child center around Leslie and her family, and I'll forever, ever treasure those.
So what I remember most about Leslie was she was confident. She was always confident in her own skin. She never worried about what people had to say or thought about her. And she always encouraged everybody else to be confident in their own skin.
Leslie was always standing up for people, especially her students, always making sure they had what they needed for school to be successful. But the person I think I'm most grateful for Leslie standing up for was for me. When I was trying to get out of an abusive marriage, Leslie did the hard things in helping me to see that it was in fact abuse and what I needed to do to get out. And she was an encourager and a cheerleader, and she was there for me the whole entire time. And I honestly can say, if it weren't for Leslie helping me and standing up for me, to myself even, I don't know where I would be today.
Another memory, when we worked at the Bel Air Theater in Hearst on Pipeline Road, that was our first job, and my dad had gotten me a job there when I was 14, and then of course I got Leslie a job right after that because we had to do everything together. So every Friday night in the parking lot there was a Pizza Inn and an Arby's and the theater, and everybody would get in the way called the circle, and you would just get in your car and drive around the circle. Weird, I know, but it was a lot of fun. Now here's the deal, a lot of people would get a beer and some cigarettes and go riding around the circle. Well, Leslie and I didn't drink. We were too young. We were probably 16 when we did all this, and we didn't smoke, but we wanted to fit in. So we went and emptied some beer cans and acted like we were drinking beer, and we went to the tobacco store in Northeast Mall and bought some clove cigarettes. Don't even know if they make those anymore. But we would smoke the clove cigarettes and drink our beer and drive around in the circle. And we thought we were a big deal. I still laugh about that.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Whoa, stand now. Oh, stand by me.
One of my coolest memories of Leslie's is that she used to let me tag along with her and her friends to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. None of my cool friends would want to do it. We were just too cool to do anything like that. But I loved it. I thought it was so much fun, and I was so glad Leslie let me tag along with her.
She's the reason I met my husband. She worked at the theater with him, and then later on, he came over to her house back in '89, and I was there, or I came too, and then he and I got together and have been together ever since. Leslie, she's the one that all of us could trust the most with our advice and hope and secrets.
Stories about Leslie is taking her to see Elvis when she was really little, and I was in shock because I just watched her walk into Tarrant County Convention Center. I think she was like 12, and made sure she got in there okay. But throughout the years, we've had children of our own and thought, would we ever allow them to go by themselves? But she loved Elvis.
Well, Frank came up here from Texas to find Leslie some shoes because she wore a size 11, and I told him just go to the shoe store and get a shoe box and let her wear the shoe box. And he got tickled out of it, and Leslie gave me a dirty look. She really did.
It never failed. If I was struggling with something, I could always talk to her, call her, or text her, or talk to her, and even if she didn't agree with what I was saying, she was always just so upfront and so honest with me.
My memories of my childhood and summer are all around her. When I was growing up, spending the summers with her and her kids, my cousins, and just getting to play all day, every day, play at their house on their trampoline and on their big board outside, and play at my grandparents' house in the pool. And she was always there. Because she was a teacher, we got to stay with her and spend the summers with her.
When Natalie and I were kids, we used to go spend the night at Aunt Leslie's house and stay the night with Franklin and Steven and Jesse. And we used to beg her to let us sleep outside on the trampoline. And, you know, she would do the responsible thing and say no. And one time she let us, and I just remember waking up covered in mosquito bites. But it was fun.
Honestly, you were a huge moral compass for me growing up. You had the highest morals, and you were so pure at heart. There was a lot of times in my life where I could look and say, you know, would my Aunt Leslie approve of the things that I'm doing?
During the holidays, Aunt Leslie always made the best candied yams, like unbelievable. But there was this one year where I guess she left them in the oven too long and they set on fire, and it was super chaotic. There were so many people in the kitchen, and they pulled it out and there was flames everywhere. It ended up being pretty funny, kind of dangerous, but it was funny.
I'd also like to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the help that you gave me and my family through all of our hardest times. Whether it was just giving us a place to go for a meal or a place to stay whenever we didn't have a home. One thing I'll never forget is how hard you tried to keep the family as close as we were after me, Mom, Paw passed away. You were the biggest. You put in the biggest effort to keep us all together, hosting all of the family events at your house and just being always inviting. And you'll forever hold a special place in my heart because of that.
I found a love for me. Well, darling, just dive right in, follow my lead. Well, I found a girl, beautiful and sweet. Well, I never knew you were the someone waiting for me. 'Cause we were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time. Well, darling, just kiss me slow. Your heart is all I own, and in your eyes you're holding mine. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, listening to our favorite song. When you said you looked a mess, I whispered underneath my breath, but you heard it. Darling, you look perfect tonight. Well, I found a woman stronger than anyone I know. She shares my dreams. I hope that someday I'll share her home. I found a love to carry more.
Well, let me tell you a little story about my gorgeous wife and I when we first started dating. So I wanted to be a good boyfriend and stopped and got flowers before a date one evening. We hadn't been dating too long, a couple months. And I went in, the place was kind of busy, and I saw a dozen yellow flowers, already in a nice vase, just looked great. And I took a sniff, and they smelled really good. It's like, oh man, these would be great. And I grabbed those and went up front and paid for them. And when I got over to Leslie's house, I gave her the roses, and she goes, oh my gosh, these are the prettiest fake flowers I've ever seen in my life. They're silk flowers. And I looked at her and, what? She goes, yeah, these silk flowers. So, oh my God, I thought they were real. I was so silly, I didn't even know that they weren't real. And we still have one of those flowers displayed here. And we always got a good laugh about that, how silly old Pa couldn't even tell the difference between a silk flower and a real flower.
Love you, but long as there are stars above you, you never need to doubt it. I'll make you so sure about it. God only knows what I'd be without you. If you should ever leave me, the life would still go on, believe me. The world could show nothing to me, so what good would living do me? God only knows what I'd be without you. What I'd be without you. If you should ever leave me, the life would still go on, believe me. The world could show nothing to me, so what good would living do me? God only knows what I'd be without you. And God only knows what I'd be without you. God only knows what I'd be without. 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 God only knows what I'd be without.
So the twins were just a few weeks old and I was exhausted. My mom had already left to go back home and Frank found out he had to take a last-minute business trip. So I was beside myself, devastated, trying to figure out how I was going to care for 2 newborn babies and Carson by myself. So Leslie came over and at first she said, well, I'll just watch the babies while you get Carson to bed. And then you got it from there. And before we knew it, it was 1 o'clock in the morning and we had been binge watching the Great British Baking Show while holding babies. She stayed up with me all night since the babies were feeding around the clock. We took turns holding babies, dozing off and laughing at the silliest things because at that point we were both exhausted. That was the thing about Leslie. She didn't wait for you to ask for help. She knew when she needed to step in. She was always willing to step in.
When I found out I was pregnant, I was super excited. and then super scared. Leslie took me out shopping. Her crib. She said she got all of her kids their first cribs for their babies, and she was going to get me one too. And I was telling her about how nervous I was. I was scared. And she was telling me how babies are amazing. We looked at so many cribs that day until we found one that was perfect. And she got me excited about the baby again and not just scared. We looked at toys and decorations for the nursery, and she just calmed me down.
Once when I was a kid, some of my neighborhood friends and I went down to this little creek by our house and went fishing. It's not something I did a whole lot of, but we brought a swimming pool down there and put a little water in it, and we caught a few fish. I might have caught one, and drugged that thing back to my mama. We brought it back to my house. And my mom, she didn't really cook fish very often, but in fact I don't remember ever eating fish at home, but she cleaned them, and these little perch, you know, they were like little tiny little fish that we caught, and she pan fried them, and they were good. And she made mine, you know, and it was a special little thing that I caught that fish and she cooked it for me.
You know, my mom was sick a long time. She would always go to the hospital, and we'd go up there, and sometimes we were on the edge of our seat waiting to hear what the doctors had to say, and sometimes we were just chilling out and playing games like cards and stuff like that. I think there was even a time when we brought a Scrabble board. You know, she was always such a fighter, you know. She was always really strong, and she never really showed us how bad it was sometimes. She was always looking out for other people. One thing that she would do is that, you know, if we were like leaving church or something, she would be on the phone with Mima or something, and she would say, "Oh, we're on our way, we're getting in the car." And then she would talk to people in the hallway at church for like 30 more minutes before she got on the way. But you know, if you ever needed something, she really did get in the car, and she was already there. I remember a time when I was driving and she called, and she was just like, "Hey, are you and Josh ready?" And I said, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Ready for what?" And she's like, "Well, there's this baby that needs to be adopted." And that was the first moment that I had heard of my daughter, Abby. We adopted her later that year, and I remember that was just like the big match getting lit for us. Like, that was the big starting point for us, and we probably never would have gotten that far had she not made that call.
Something special that I'll always remember was listening to her heartbeat. Ever since I was a little girl, about 6 years old, when she got her first open heart surgery, I could hear her artificial valves, and they sounded like a clock ticking, and it was just such a comforting sound growing up. And I like everyone knows, I sat in my mom's lap for probably too long, and then when I stopped sitting in my mom's lap, I always just sat right beside her. When I was little, she called me her shadow. I was always watching her, and I just always, you know, liked to listen to the ticking sound of her heart. And when I was 19, actually, I had Aiden. He was a baby, and he was in my lap, and I remember sitting real close to my mom and realizing that her heart had different sound, and I was like, "Mom, your heart, there's something wrong with it. I just know that there's something wrong with it. The ticking doesn't sound right." And
sure enough, like, she had gone to the doctor soon after that, and she had to get her valves replaced again. They had started failing. That's not necessarily a good memory, but it's a pretty strong memory.
Goodbye, baby, on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall, and down will come baby, cradle and all.
Did y'all hear that? I'm the only one apparently that can make him laugh.
Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong. They are weak, but he is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so. Jesus loves me when I pray, even when I'm far away. Jesus holds me by his side, loving me all through the night. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, just how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamed I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I laid you by my side. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, just how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. I'll always love you and make you happy. If you could only stay the same. Someday you'll leave me to love another and be all grown up someday. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, just how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Grammy loves you, baby.
Love you, Les.
I love you, Leslie.
I love you, and I'll miss you.
I love you, Leslie. I always will.
I love you, Leslie.
I love you, Leslie.
I love you.
I love you, Leslie, and I'm gonna miss you.
I love you, Aunt Leslie.
I love you so much, Aunt Leslie.
I love you, Aunt Leslie. I love you, Aunt Leslie.
I love
you.
I love you, Aunt Leslie.
I love you so much, Aunt Leslie.
I love you, Aunt Leslie.
I love her. Y'all loved her deeply.
I love you, most beautiful.
I love you, Leslie. I miss you. And you're going to leave a lasting legacy with your family.
I love you, Leslie.
I love you, Leslie, and I miss you.
I love you, Mama.
I love you, Mama.
I'll always love you, Mama.
I love you, Grammy.
I love you, Grammy, and I miss you, Grammy. I love you, Grammy. I love you, Grammy, I miss you so much.
Leslie was a champion. She was great at everything she did. She was a great daughter, great mother, great aunt, great sister, great wife, great cousin, great teacher, great friend, great cook. I mean, if she was doing it, she was great at it. She was the person that we all aspire to be. And I always looked up to her. She was my hero.